All right, let's dive right in. We're going to explore this really powerful idea today. The idea that who you are, who you become, isn't about those huge, life-changing moments. Nope. It's built in the small, quiet choices you make day in and day out. Let's get into it.
You know, it's such a simple sentence, right? But it is literally the core of everything we're talking about. See, this isn't about the person you plan to be or the choices you wish you'd made last week. It's about what you actually do. Like the meal you choose for lunch, whether you take that walk, how you really spend your time. That's what builds a life.
Okay, so when you first hear that, it can feel, I don't know, a little heavy, right? A lot of pressure. But if you look just a little bit closer, it's actually incredibly liberating. It's totally empowering. Let's break down why that is.
So yeah, on the one hand, it puts all the responsibility squarely on your shoulders. You can't blame your circumstances, you can't blame other people, it's on you. But, and this is the big but, on the other hand, it hands you all the power. Think about it. If you are your choices, then you can start choosing differently. You can choose better, right now, today, this very minute. And that is the absolute beauty of this whole idea. It doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter what happened yesterday. Every single day is a fresh start. It's a brand new chance to aim for something different, something new. It's this constant rolling opportunity for renewal.
Okay, so if we've got this incredible power to choose, how do we actually, use it? How do we make it work? Well, the answer isn't some massive, dramatic life overhaul. No, it's something way quieter and way more consistent than that.
This is where the Japanese philosophy of Kaizen comes in, and it's brilliant. The whole idea isn't about becoming a brand new person overnight. Forget that. It's all about this steady, almost invisible stacking of tiny improvements. We're talking marginal gains. The goal? Just get 1% better than you were yesterday. That's it.
1%. Just think about that number. It feels totally doable, right? It's not scary. It's not intimidating. But now, imagine the compounding effect of that tiny 1% improvement, day after day, for a whole year. That is where the real, mind-blowing transformation happens.
The management guru Peter Drucker has this fantastic metaphor for this. He says innovative ideas are like frogs' eggs. 1,000 get hatched, but only 1 or 2 actually make it. What's he saying? Don't sit around waiting for that one perfect, world-changing idea to strike you like lightning. The real key is to come up with tons of small ideas and then just see which ones had the legs to grow.
And here's the crucial part. It's all about how you treat those little, maybe even silly-sounding ideas. Instead of just brushing them off, the innovative mindset kicks in and asks a different question. Okay, what's actually needed to make this real? It's a total shift away from judging and into curiosity. And then, of course, it's followed by the consistent work to actually bring that idea to life.
But look, all this great stuff, this thinking, innovating, improving, it all needs a solid foundation to stand on. And what's that foundation? It's the one thing you have with you 24/7, your body. Seriously, taking care of your physical self is step 1 if you want a clear mind.
And Leo Tolstoy does not mess around with this. He's super direct. He looks at something like overeating not as just some minor little thing, but as the first domino to fall in a chain reaction that just completely weakens your will. He even uses that old myth about Circe turning Odysseus' crew into pigs. See, Odysseus, the master of self-control, he stayed human. His crew, they rushed to the feast and bam, they became pigs. It's a pretty intense warning, right? How controlling your appetite is directly linked to controlling your entire life.
Okay, so you've got Tolstoy's intensity, which is a lot. Now let's contrast that with this beautifully simple advice from Michael Pollan. It's pretty much the same core wisdom, but it's been perfectly distilled for our modern lives. I mean, it's basically a lifetime of dietary guidance packed into just 2 simple sentences.
And this idea goes way beyond just food. It applies to something as basic as breathing. Wim Hof's whole practice teaches us something really profound. You get stronger not by forcing it, not by gritting your teeth, but by relaxing into the process. And that's a lesson for, well, pretty much all of life, isn't it? Create the right conditions, show up consistently, and then just trust the process.
All right, so we've talked about the power of small choices. We've talked about taking care of our bodies. But there's another really crucial layer we need to add here, and that's making sure our good intentions are actually guided by real, practical wisdom.
There's this parable from Anthony DeMello that just nails this point. You've got this disciple, and she's acting from a place of pure love. At her wedding, she decides to flip the script, seating the poor in the place of honor. Now, her intention? Absolutely beautiful. But the actual result? A total disaster. Everyone was uncomfortable, her family was embarrassed, the rich guests were insulted, and the poor guests felt so self-conscious they couldn't even eat. It's such a sharp reminder that your impact is what matters, maybe even more than your intent.
Or how about a real-world example of this kind of practical wisdom? Picture this, the newly crowned Queen Elizabeth II. She has a weekly meeting set with Winston Churchill. Not exactly a low-level meeting, but it's scheduled for 5:30, which was bath time for her kids. So what did she do? She moved the meeting. I mean, think about that. It's such a powerful statement of priorities. If the Queen can reschedule on Winston Churchill, we can probably figure out how to protect what's truly important in our own lives, too.
So you can start to see how this all connects, right? When we start combining these small, wise choices, one after another, we begin to shift. We move away from just performing a role that we think we're supposed to play, and we start living a life that is genuinely, truly authentic.
And that brings me to a question I really want you to just sit with for a second, because it is sharp. It kind of stings. Here it is. Are you inventing things to do to avoid the important work? Wow. It just forces you to confront how often we use busyness, answering emails, going to meetings, as a shield, a way to avoid the deeper, more important, and often much more difficult work that we know we should be doing.
The source material describes this feeling perfectly. It calls it a stone in a shoe. You know that feeling, right? It's that nagging, uncomfortable awareness that you're just not focused on what really matters. It's annoying as hell, but once you feel it, you just can't ignore it. So what's the antidote to all this performing and busyness? Well, it's not some grand, complicated gesture. It's the opposite. It's these quiet, simple practices. Just being honest with yourself, taking a walk outside, what the Japanese call forest bathing or Shinrin-yoku. Simple things like that strip away the performance and help us reconnect with what's actually real.
The comedian Dusty Slay has this line that's so wise it almost sounds like a punchline. He says, "It is better to be happy without a lot of things than to be unhappy trying to get a lot of things." I mean, it's so simple, it's almost insulting, right? But it's just profoundly true. Real authenticity, real happiness, it so often lies in simplicity, not in that endless, exhausting pursuit of more.
So, at the end of the day, this is what it all boils down to. These are the choices. These tiny, seemingly insignificant decisions that, when you stack them up day after day, create a life that feels deliberate and full of meaning. It's not about being perfect. It's about setting the bar low enough that you can just start, and then you just do it again tomorrow.
And so, here we are, right back where we started, but hopefully with a totally new perspective. We are the choices we make, every single one. And maybe, just maybe, the most powerful and life-defining choices of all are the small ones. So the only question left is, what small choice are you going to make today?